Hey everybody, here's a pro tip. When you schedule a live stream, you can sit and talk in front of your phone, but it doesn't count as a live stream unless you hit the go live button, because that just happened. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As you may notice, no, I'm not downstairs in the office that I usually stream from. I'm upstairs because we have our 100 subscriber giveaway today. And MT, my little boy who's off to my right, off camera, hey buddy, he was just watching Breakfast with Brian with me just a few moments ago. He is going to pick the winning name. Hey Neil, long time no see. We're going to do that towards the end of the show. In total, I had 6 video entries and 9 comment entries. I had an entry at the very last minute. Comic Book Worm, who I did include. I'm moving our entry slips over here, by the way. I did include in the video playlist, and I had one person who wanted to enter yesterday, which was after the conclusion of the entry period. So I had to say, unfortunately, no, it wouldn't be fair to everybody else, but I would give them a shout out if they did a video. They did not do a video as of this morning, so I don't want to embarrass them at all. We didn't discuss that further. Neil, I have to tell you 2 things regarding video games. My wife is to my right as well, so I have to explain this. One of my YouTube friends here, honey, Neil, Comics and Video Games. Thank you, Beckerman. His channel again is Neil's Comics and Video Games. That's why I switched the gears to video games. For the first time, hey J80, for the first time in 33 years, Neil, I did the math. I completed Dragon Quest this morning on my Switch. So, feeling pretty good about that, honey. You should call your parents and just say, Phil beat a video game after 33 years that he played when he was 10 years old.
Okay.
My little guy here is sitting, smiling, and laughing. Also, Neil, as I mentioned in the chat, you and Brian are doing Fortnite. I might have to jump back on Fortnite and play a couple rounds with you. My wife just gave me a look for that one. So
I'm coughing, that's why.
Aye.
I'm in my coughing fit.
Okay, so why don't we just start with our regular show. Again, we're going to do the winning pick at the end. Just some news articles off the top of my head, just 2, because I promised I am not mentioning any Ezra Miller or Amber Heard's news stories this week at all. I keep hearing they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. So you know what? I don't care. Let Warner Brothers figure it out. We don't need to talk about them no more. They're good. I did read, however, Loki, I should say actually the actor who plays Loki, Tom Hiddleston, who, by the way, I didn't realize it until today, is not in the upcoming Thor movie that comes out next week. That was a shocker to me. I just didn't kind of realize it. He is now engaged. Did you hear this, honey?
No.
Yeah, she likes Tom Hiddleston. We saw him in these, we saw him, of course, in the Thor movies and Avengers.
Yeah, I remember.
We watched the Loki series. She didn't like it. I liked it. I'm not saying that as a certain way. I'm just saying he didn't like it, okay? Matt Woods is in the house, honey.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honey, Neil is saying that your wife has still not joined you. We want Mrs. Philtastic. She is much better looking. I'll say that. I'm not moving it towards you. I'm just saying myself. And I know MT wants to be on camera, but not yet, buddy. You're not old enough yet.
He's smiling.
He is smiling. Main event. How you doing? I got to get in on a wrestling match main event. So I was saying, Loki is engaged. I don't know the actress's name because why would I prepare? It's not like I had a week to think about this. But she does play the villain in the upcoming Marvels film. So it's nice they're kind of keeping it all in the MCU, I guess. I don't know. Marvels is going to have Captain Marvel. Is Monica Rambeau calling herself Photon? Do you remember, honey, in WandaVision?
I don't.
So let's say Photon. Yes, exactly, Zach. What's that? Hey, Comic Book Worm. Yeah, we're enjoying the Ms. Marvel show. I know that people have felt a little bit controversial. I dug it a lot.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Very interesting. How do you like it, buddy? He's just drooling, so I think that means he likes it. Hit me up in IG with the character idea. We'll have to talk about that more main event because I'm not quite sure. Other news items I thought were notable this week. One of my favorite recent Spider-Man writers, I don't know how many of you have heard this, Dan Slott is returning to Spider-Man with Mark Bagley, who I think he's been drawing nothing but Spider-Man for the last 30 years. JHA, what's up, buddy? Yeah, they're coming back for another Spider-Man series. He's not jumping on Amazing. It's going to be the adjectiveless Spider-Man like McFarlane started years ago. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be picking that up in print. I feel like I have enough Spider-Man in print. I'm kind of moving a lot of my Marvel reading and DC reading, to be honest with you. I know it's you, Jan. I still have those action figures at my mom's, by the way. We have to sort that out now that the summer's here. Jan's the guy who's interested in the action figures I keep telling you about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I used to work with. They're all still sitting there. Nobody's touching them. They're there. Yeah, we'll definitely work something out. If not on the weekend, I know I'm taking the last full week of August off. We have a couple appointments, but we'll be able to work something out, hopefully soon. So Dan Slott back on Spider-Man. I'm excited to see that. Dan Slott is one of my favorite modern day writers, and my son is mimicking me making hand motions now because he's half Italian. That's right, buddy. So I'm excited to at least check that out. Dan Slott was actually supposed to be at a con I was going to go to in 2019, ZapCon, and that got postponed.
I was going to say we went to a con, but it was...
That was Garden State.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm using drinking gloves now, because I'm very fancy. Very fancy. No, because I'm going to touch my new comics, and some of them are black covers, and I don't want my greasy fingerprints showing all over. So what was I going to say? Yeah, no, I was supposed to... I actually had bought tickets, and we went, remember, for the early birds.
Yeah.
Just to see Dan Slott, and it got postponed. Then it got pushed back last year. It's supposed to happen this year. I don't know how I feel about going yet, so I might be either returning or selling my pass. And I don't even know if Dan Slott's going to be there this year. And it was supposed to be great. It was going to have Dan Slott, Tyler Kirkham, who I have a great Spider-Man Virgin cover I won from his website. I don't know what number it is offhand that I was going to have him sign, but there you go. So those are my news items for the week. Pickups. I had no pickups this week. Actually, I shouldn't say that. A pre-order I did many weeks ago, I'm stressing many weeks ago, from Midtown is on its way. It was supposed to be here yesterday. Hey, buddy. But it is coming today, anytime between 11 and 8 p.m. So maybe if we're lucky, the mailman will throw it outside of his truck. Yeah, buddy. We'll throw it outside of his truck when we're in the middle of the show. We can run out and grab it. My mailman is a totally another story. I've shown before, if you don't follow me on IG, I had a box delivered to me. Luckily, this wasn't a comic-related box. I swear to God, I think the Postal Service and FedEx just drop kicks our packages before they deliver them. It was a Bed Bath package. It just looked like it was destroyed. Luckily, everything inside was fine.
What about the one that went to our neighbor? That was fine.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing too. Our address is 211, and they delivered it to 221 because 1 and 2 look exactly the same, of course. And anytime between 11 and 8, so that means 8:03. Yeah, usually Zach. Or they'll just push it to next week. So they delivered it 4 doors down, and we didn't know this for a couple weeks.
Like a month.
Yeah. And we ended up calling, it was from Bye Bye Baby, who's a whole nother, I think they're the 4th or 5th ring of hell. I don't know, dealing with their customer service. They were telling us, oh no, we left it with the sender's neighbor. So the person who bought it, they left it with their neighbor, which didn't make sense. Oh no, we left it with your neighbor. They gave us a name that I didn't recognize. I just kind of remembered because again, our mailman just delivers everybody's mail to our house. Like that kind of sounds familiar. On my lunch break, I walked a couple doors down, which might not seem like a big deal, but we're on a busy road, so it was a little harrowing. And the woman who answered the door only spoke Spanish. So luckily I had my phone and I felt like everybody on 90 Day Fiance just typing into the translator app, like, I think you have a package for me. Yeah, so long story short, which has nothing to do with comics, of course, it took us about a month to get a high chair that we haven't used yet. 2 more months, buddy. You're going to start eating real food. You can't wait, right? He's very thrilled. Yeah, so Midtown is going to get here at some point. I did get a very special package. Now, the neighbors aren't bad, I have to say. They tried to actually call Bye Bye Baby 2. I don't know why they didn't carry it down the road. It was kind of a big package. They were very nice, and she had some nice things to say to us in Spanish. But yeah, no, it was 100% the mailman. Hey, Brian. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so Midtown, that package will be here sometime between now and like 5 years from now. I did get a special package in the mail from Mr. Reggie Collects. That is an ash can of their book, Isolation. Yes, tap the button, Neil, correct. You tap the like button. We don't smash it here. I don't want you to break your phones or your iPads, at least on my account, right, buddy? So you tap it or you pet it. It's kind of like that Tenacious D song that I can't repeat the title of because my little boy's here. Yeah, so I have the Isolation ash can that I am going to show off at some point this week. See, he's excited. And we're going to do actually a little fun video, MT and I, with it. Yep, he's ready for that. I also have what I think has been my favorite video so far that I've made coming out this week. I actually had the opportunity to interview my first comic creator interview I've ever done before. And I was pleasantly surprised. I have to say, it was a pretty inspirational video, interview, at least a discussion. So I'm really happy to roll that out. And side note, just so that you get yourself ready for that, I'm also going to have a giveaway in that video on how you could win copies of that guy's comic, which I'm not going to tell you now. I want it to be a surprise. I'm also going to be on another channel later this week. That person hasn't announced it yet, so I will leave that up to them. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. So let me show you what I read this week. And I called this live feed A Tale of Two Endings for a good reason, because 2 of the books that I read this week ended, 2 independent titles. One of them was very good. One of them was but I'll get to that soon. But that being said, too, that ending was not the worst comic I read this week. In fact, the worst comic I read this week, I think, honey, that it might be the worst comic I've ever read. And if you've been paying attention to the comic book news, and that's why I didn't bring it up in here, you might know what it is. But we'll get to that in a second. So what did I read? First, Nocterra number 11. Matt, I can't think of Nocterra without thinking of Super Honorable Nephew. This was the end of the second volume of the story. I guess there's one more volume left. I don't know. I haven't heard anything definitive about being a finite story or finite series. Finite, if you want to say it correctly. This volume did not start well for me, at least. And I kind of understood that they took the shift off of the main character and really focused on some of the secondary characters. And I tied it up very, very nicely at the end of this volume. I can't wait for the next one to start. Reading this, it was like reading an action movie in motion, basically. Does that make sense? An action movie in motion? The coffee's hitting me if you haven't guessed it, so I might just say things that don't make sense. But it's the closest thing to an action movie that you can read in a comic book form at this point. And some good surprises. I really like, Matt, I keep saying super honorable nephew. We have to somehow get in touch with the people at Guinness to. This guy's got to have a world record for most Noctera #1s. But I really liked what they did with Bill here, Blacktop Bill. That was a really cool part of the story. I enjoyed that. Can't wait for the next volume to start. Next, X-Men comics, I've said this before, are reaching, in some instances, a renaissance. Did you know this, Matthew? They're really reaching a renaissance with some of their titles. Not all of them, because some of them are god-awful. But the ones that are doing it good are doing it really, really well. This is one that's doing it really well. And it's kind of one that you don't hear many people talking about that much. X-Force, this is issue 28. Ben Percy has been killing it on this title since it relaunched. Same with Wolverine. He's the same writer on Wolverine. I kind of like that they're connected to the regular X-Men story, but they're on their own as well. Like they're almost, I don't know if they're on the other side of the island or what's going on, but they're kind of what the original X-Force book was back in the 90s. These are the Black Ops X-Men. These are the guys who were sent in to kind of do the dirty work. What I really like about this is not only the direction that they've taken with some standby characters or long-running characters like Domino, for example. You might notice she's got this weird thing on her arm right there. Early issues, she got captured. They have these plant-based villains now that are kind of working with Orchis, the big evil organization that is after the X-Men. And I forgot if they chopped off her arm or something, but somehow integrated into it. I looked at my wife like she knew. She's looking at me like, you're speaking Spanish to me right now. But what's really cool, too, is that they focus on a lot of the secondary characters. Yeah, Wolverine's in it. And no, make no mistake, you read X-Force, you're going to get a good helping of Wolverine. But just stuff that they've done with Black Tom, for example, and Kid Omega has been amazing in this run. Even Colossus. And a lot of people will argue that Beast is, they don't like how Beast has been handled in this book because he is very much a dick in this book. There's no qualms about that. But I think that that's hopefully what's going to be leading into, I think, really a three-way war that's going to be going on with the X-Men. Yeah, I'm telling you, wear your gloves, man. It's going to change your coffee drinking experience. It tastes that much better. I will say this. X-Force is one of the more gruesome titles in here. That's a little bit gory. But now, in case you don't know, the X-Men have figured out that they can't die. And I think it's a nice kind of workaround to it.
Looks like bubblegum.
What's that?
Looks like bubblegum.
Well, there's the colors, but
Yeah,
here,
it's bubblegum.
there's something else a little misleading on this. My wife said that this Juggernaut-esque character, and I say Juggernaut-esque. See, Zach, that's what I thought too, but it's not the Juggernaut. Part of the story, which it's not a spoiler at all, Kid Omega, who you might remember from the early 2000s, around that, I can't think of the name, I could think of the guy's face, but the one that basically Joe Quesada disavowed because he kind of jumped ship right afterwards. Kid Omega has been experimenting with playing with husks of the X-Men characters, and this is a Juggernaut husk. It's almost kind of like a Poppy, one of those sons of, yeah. But again, this was definitely a great read, a good read. Pick this one up, and they've even made Omega Red a little bit interesting with it, which, as you may have heard me before, he's one of those characters I don't understand why he's so popular, because everybody beats him up. These next two I'm going to show you. It's, you know what, Zach, I understand I have the same reservations. Pick this up. It's done actually very well. And I think Juggernaut is in the Legion of X series right now. It's one of the X-Men titles I'm not reading because I just don't care for Cy Spurrier's work. I figure I'll check it out digitally, if anything. He had done Way of X recently, and I just didn't understand and didn't like that. X-Men Red, issues number 2, and issues number 3. Number 3 is a variant on this, a cover B. X-Men Red to me, is one of, if not the flagship title of all the X books. This is where the main storyline is going to be going. It's really a continuation. I don't even want to say a continuation of Sword, just because it's good. Sword was a pretty terrible book, in my opinion, for the most part. Don't get me wrong, I think it got derailed too much by King in Black and some other crossovers. But that being said, X-Men Red is great. The X-Men, if you're unfamiliar, have terraformed Mars. That's nothing new. And basically, they're trying to establish themselves on on Mars and establish Arakko, that other island that came about in Ten of Swords. And yeah, I mean, very surprising. Some have compared it to Game of Thrones, and definitely, yes, I agree with them. I will say this. Issue number 3. If you don't pick up any X-Men books for this entire summer, and I know that we're just really kind of still in the first half of summer, so I might be speaking a pretty big game at this point. Pick up X-Men number 3, X-Men Red number 3. Zach, this is Magneto being the best I've ever seen Magneto be in years. Yeah, you know, like they really kind of took him on a journey. Excuse me. Through the Krakoan Age, you know, he was part of the Quiet Council. Then you had the fallout of the Hellfire Gala. You had the trial of Magneto. He kind of exiled himself to Mars. But you kind of see that even though he's wants to be gone, he doesn't want to be some sort of a ruler. Yeah, he does it, and he does it well. And that last page, wow, that is Magneto to a T. Okay, these next 2 books are my favorite of the X-Men books, the favorite ongoing, I should say. And it's one that when I say this to people, they kind of give me a funny look because it's unexpected. New Mutants number, taking over a planet is a total villain move. Main event, I'm oversimplifying it. The X-Men thought it would be like a great move, and a lot of people just don't like it for that exact reason. I would say check out the conclusion to the Hellfire Gala, last year's Hellfire Gala, to actually see that. But it was definitely a good move, story-wise. But again, this has consistently been a X-Men related tale I keep telling people they have to check out because it's a great read. New Mutants number 25 and New Mutants number 26. Both have very similar covers. I'm showing my wife because she hates Magic's costume, even though I told her I think she would like the character. And this is, if you're a classic New Mutants fan, this is the perfect arc for you to jump into because it is a real great blending of your classic New Mutant stories and these newer stories. First of all, Len Francis Yu does the covers. They're both great covers. He's done a lot of Marvel work. You know, that's nothing new. Rod Rice has done the interiors now for a while. I love Rod Rice's style, very much like Mike Del Mundo, very abstract and expressive. And he does a great job with it, too. This is just one of the pages, and it's a random page I picked. But what's really kind of cool, and I haven't taken the time to see if this is a straight reprint. I think it is, or it might be a reimagining at the very least. They refer back to the time in New Mutants when Magic was de-aged to be a little girl, and she was stuck in limbo. The prisoner of Bolesco being forced to study the dark arts. And a lot of the first half of this references that. So in the second half, they have, and again, if this isn't a reprint, then it's masterfully done. Jan Duursema, I don't know how to say the name, doing like a straight-on reference back to the very early New Mutants, to the point where it's in that same art style. I just thought that was very well done. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking that out. 26 is the resolution to the story, but I don't know if they're going to be carrying that over. And honestly, if you want to do a little bit of spec, buddy, calm down. You're going to pick the name soon. If you want to do a little bit of spec in this, New Mutants number 26, you have the introduction of what I'll call as old woman magic. Basically an older version of magic that, again, very interesting, very well done. This whole art, and a new sword, by the way, for magic, and that's not a spoiler, but both of these stories, by the way, one of the great things about them is that it perfectly represents New Mutants past, present, and future. Definitely check that one out. Okay, now for one of the X-Men titles I have not enjoyed, and this pretty much continue with it. Marauders number 3. I'm giving this series 3 more issues before I decide if I'm dropping it or not. Again, for me, I understand what they're trying to do. They took the idea of the Marauders and just brought it into space. I imagine that it's somehow going to work in tandem with X-Men Red, but I have to say the story itself feels a little underwhelming. There are things I like. I like that they carried over Daken and Aurora's relationship. I think I said that last week when I was showing this. I do like the inclusion of tempo in this, but it's kind of like the writer doesn't have the ability to focus on more than 2 or 3 characters. Just because, like Bishop, there was practically no Bishop. I forgot he was on the team. He was in like 2 panels. Kitty Pryde, same thing. Zach, how many issues? It's a good question. It depends how bad the story is. I used to give 3 issues, but now that things come out more rapidly, I've been giving it about 6 issues. I guess it really depends on the story itself. And, and other times, like sometimes I'll just go on too long, like Excalibur. That last volume was horrendous, but I kept saying it's got to turn around, it's got to turn around, and it didn't. So as a result, I didn't continue when they changed it over to Knights of X or whatever it is now. Sunum, I don't know how to say the guy's name. It's one of the newer characters. I really don't. I have no idea about him because they don't focus on him. They focus on what's their name? Xavier's sister, who's a member of this team, and I still don't understand why. And a little bit of Psylocke. And really, what sinks it for this is not only a bad story, but the art is just not to my liking. It's a little too cartoony and a little too angled. I'm trying to show an example of a good page. I keep getting one with an ad on it. And really, it's a very Shi'ar heavy story, so it feels more of like a callback to 90s X-Men almost. It feels like that kind of pace, but not done to the same quality. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I read this, and there were some instances I stopped and I was like, I really don't understand what's going on with this at all. So, Marauders number 3, like I said, it's on my endangered pull list. So at the beginning, I told you that there are 2 series that I read that ended this month. One of them I thought was done very well. Probably one of the best endings I've read in a very long time, and one of them not so much. So the one that's not so much is Homesick Pilots, number 15. Zach, this is a perfect example of a book that I kind of was going to give up on. And to be honest with you, the only reason I stayed with it, I think I was going to stop at issue 12. And then somebody's like, well, it's ending in 3 issues. Like, all right, well, might as well finish it out. And the last couple issues, I'll say this, they turned it around. This kind of started as a very kind of a supernatural ghost story. And it went taking place in the early 90s. So I was trying to give it like a punk rock feel. So you like that sound? I did too. And then it went to like a weird sci-fi kaiju type of story. I mean, some of the good things, I think the design for the main ghosts are really cool. This is the main big baddie, I guess you could say. And he doesn't really look that scary on this cover, but prior covers, just like a silhouette, or even how he appeared in prior work, was pretty good. The artwork in this title, to be honest with you, has been very strong. Again, the writing has been the main kind of weakness. They started a lot of different interesting things, and just kind of got derailed by this whole kind of kaiju aspect that they didn't really need to do. This issue in particular, after you think it's over, they try to do some kind of like M. Night Shyamalan twist. You remember, like the guy who did, what's the movie? The guy who's dead the whole movie. I can't think of the Bruce Willis one. been so long since I've actually got into a comic series from the start. I wouldn't even know where to begin anymore. Yeah, same here. You just gotta basically listen to what you like. I could tell you if you want a recommendation, Zach, 8 Billion Genies. It's a very non-superhero story. Um, I've only read one issue so far. I think it's a 5-issue series. The second one just came out this week. I would start there. It's a good series. Thanks, buddy. And I mean, I'd say 6 cents. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they wanted to do a 6 cents type of twist, but it came out more like one of M. Night Shyamalan's like later titles, the ones where everybody was like, we don't care anymore. And again, the twist just wasn't handled very well. This is a book that, again, there were 15 issues. It should have probably run for 10. But that's that. Now, one of the better endings I've read in a very long time. This was a series I picked up on a whim, Zach, a little over 3 years ago. Up until this issue, it was pretty much on time. The issue's been delayed like, I think, 3 or 4 times. And that was Oblivion Song. You mean like the trees were trying to kill us all? Yeah, see, like it's that type of a twist, but worse. Maybe you should read the last issue just to see how bad the twist is. But I would say just like wait until you find it like at your library or online or something. Yeah, so Robert Kirkman, who many know from The Walking Dead. The art here was definitely a little stylized, but it worked. From Lorenzo Di Felice, who I wasn't familiar with besides this title. This kind of serves as an epilogue to the whole series. And this is a very sci-fi heavy series. I'm not usually into sci-fi. Yeah, it is a great cover, J80. The art in this has been consistently in this style, and it's been very good. But they took this, what I like is they took this gigantic sci-fi series where basically the humans were behind the 8 ball the entire series and kind of made it so almost like we were the aggressors towards the end of it. And I'm oversimplifying it. I try to do that so I don't give it away in case you do want to read it. But one thing I like too is that they took this gigantic story and they epilogue made it into a story about 2 brothers. And that's really what it's been, what the story itself has been since issue 1. And then you come to kind of really realize that at the end. And again, this is like masterfully done. This is masterclass on how to end a comic. And look, I mean, some comics I've read recently that have ended just have not had a great ending. Right around the time Oblivion Song started, I was reading Gideon Falls. I thought it was a great series up until the last arc. I thought the last arc was not great, and the finale itself was just not good at all. I mean, Zach, if I had to compare it to a movie, I would say it was like the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes ending, Oblivion Song. But not Oblivion Song, I'm sorry, Gideon Falls. But yeah, I mean, when you could pull off a good ending, you could pull off a good ending, and that was a great ending. Okay, next. This is the final one I read this week. This is by far the worst comic I've read in a very long time, honey. In fact, I might go as well as say this is the worst single issue I have ever read. This is an issue, a comic that came under a lot of fire, and I totally understand why. That is, what if Miles Morales became Thor? What if number 4? This is a variant cover. This is just what my LCS had. This cover I didn't particularly care for. But there was a lot of controversy on this because it was a writer who is not black. I don't know what his background is. I usually don't buy books based on someone's background. I just mentioned it because it's part of the story. I smell a new series. I read it so you don't have to. Maybe, Zach. I try to make my reading count. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not one who gets offended over portrayal of people. Like I've said to people before too, in my opinion, if you hear something that doesn't involve you personally at all, but you say, oh, I'm offended, that's almost like borderline narcissism, depending on what's going on. I totally see why people got offended with this. just, and not just, black people getting offended because of how basically they tried to boil everything down. But it's just so bad, really. It's offensive to me, not based on race, but I feel like that they were trying to get this big story and boil it down to something like you'd see on a bad episode of The Fresh Prince from back in the day, like a bad one, like after everybody stopped watching it. The only thing I could say is I know it's a What If series. It's a limited thing. Haven't read it, probably won't. Yeah. The good thing is that I think the whole What If is ending next in the next issue, which I think comes out next week. But yeah, I'll say this: the one good thing, just overall offensive, even down to the fourth story. Yeah. Hey, psychedelic. Yeah, very. I mean, first of all, I'll show you one thing I just thought was a bad choice. They try to do some narration, and they have the old kind of school Thor type of scripts and fonts and whatnot. Not that, that's an ad. But they try to make it forced where everything rhymes. And I don't know if the whole thing was they're trying to sound like some old Nordic story or something, but it comes out to be very, very hokey, not even kitschy, hokey. And just the way that Miles Morales Thor, I should say, just talks in this is just very, it's a train wreck. It really is. I wouldn't even say pick it up to see how bad it is. I would just say, walk past it as quickly as you can. That's how terrible it was. Okay. So that's everything I read. Again, I did read a digital independent comic, which I'm not talking about now because I want you to check out my video that's going to come out on Wednesday. That's what I'm shooting for, at least, where I interview the creator. And I urge you to pick that up as well, too. And you're going to have an opportunity to win some of that as well, win some issues of that. But right now, we are going to do what everybody was waiting for, the moment everybody's been waiting for. We're going to pick the winner of our 100 subscriber Love Your LCS contest. Again, these are people who either made a video or left a comment telling me about their LCS, and I'm going to buy them a gift card to their LCS. I'm going to say it's going to be within the next week to 10 days, depending on your LCS, if they're willing to work with me here. There were a total of 6 video entries and 9 comment entries. And I have to say, I'm leaving the playlist for the video entries up. They were just really well done. And I think everybody who took the time to and put the energy to make those videos, I thought they were very creative and very well done. I enjoyed watching them. Some of them I watched over and over again. But without further ado, we're not doing anything like a duck race or anything like that. I just wrote the people's names down on paper. And MT is going to pick the name. So why don't you bring him closer, honey? Okay. He's not on camera. Go ahead and grab one of the papers here. Maybe lean him over a bit so you can grab. He grabbed one. Can I have it? But the duck race makes the world go round, yes. The winner, I have better than the duck race. I have the MT crib. The winner of the 100 subscriber video Love Your LCS challenge is, I'm happy because this is a guy who subscribes and comments often, Trev, the shipping guru. Congratulations to you, Trev. I will be contacting you shortly just to get your information. You obviously have your LCS information there, so I'm going to reach out to your LCS and basically see if they'll work with me here to get you that gift card. And again, if not, we'll work out maybe like a Visa gift card. Yes, buddy, you did a good job. You know what? Just to play it safe, do you want to pick up backups? Matt, pick up a backup, buddy. I'm having a 4-month-old pick up a backup winner just in case. Okay. Thank you. And I'm not going to announce who the backup is just in case. But again, I'll be working on Trev's gift card, and I have a backup just in case. So again, just as a reminder, Monday, I'm going to shoot for Monday to do my review and unboxing of the Isolation Ash Can from Swolger Publishing, Reggie collects, and Doug Bratton lives just like 10 minutes from here. Wednesday, I'm going to have my next big video. That's going to be my interview with an independent comic book creator, and again, that information is going to be under wraps until Wednesday. But make sure that you do check out that video on Wednesday because I am going to have another contest announced on that video. And with that, it still looks like a nice day. It has not rained yet. I have a wife who's probably very hungry because she didn't eat breakfast yet. My little guy is making some noises and everything, so I'm going to go spend the rest of the day with them. I hope that you guys enjoy your weekend and enjoy your 4th of July and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.